cracking, y'all? You are now watching Boo TV. Appreciate you for stopping in. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and let's get into the topic for today. Big ups, big congratulations to the Denver Nuggets, the now NBA champions of the 2022-2023 season, led by Nikola Jokic and his wingman Jamal Murray, brought home the very first championship for the Denver Nuggets franchise. That boy, Nikola Jokic, a.k.a. Big Yoke, a.k.a. the Joker, a.k.a. Terminator T2020, Serbian model MV3, the Joker, brought home the finals MVP as he pretty much decimated every team that they played against in this playoff run. All right, his numbers were off the wall, off the Richter scale in the playoffs. As well, his numbers were off the playoffs entirely and his individual final stats, right? So in the finals alone, Joker averaged 30.2 points, 14 rebounds, 7.2 assists, and 1.4 steals on 58.3 shooting from the field, 42.1 from the line, 83.8 from the three-point line. On the entire playoffs, the playoff run, in 20 games they played, Joker averaged 30 points per game, 13.5 rebounds, 9.5 assists. 9.5 assists. Throwing 1.1 steals, throwing 1 block per game, throwing 54.8 field goal percentage, throwing 46.1 three-point percentage. Fantastic stuff by Nikola Jokic, no question about it. He's basically just kept up what he's been doing the whole regular season, really. More or less, this is what he was, actually even better than what he was in the regular season, all things considered. He led the team. He was completely unstoppable. Every team the Denver Nuggets faced, they had no answer for Big Yoke. I don't care who you threw at him. Small, big, fat, skinny, double team. The dude's very cerebral. But like I said, big congratulations to the Denver Nuggets. They've been a solid squad all year. And, you know, some people could argue, I'm sure anybody in Denver would argue that had they had Jamal Murray last season, that they had a good chance of winning the finals then and beating the Warriors had they had Jamal Murray. And I tell you, I'm not jumping the gun. I'm not sitting here calling Joker and Jamal Murray, Kobe and Shaq, blah, blah, blah. I ain't saying that. But I remember, I brought this up in a video in the past. I remember when, before James Harden and Joel Embiid even played a game together and they made that trade, they started drawing comparisons to Kobe and Shaq. And people were saying how much more skilled they'd be than Kobe and Shaq and why they'd be better than Kobe and Shaq. I just scoffed. This is so frequent do I see these media people jumping the gun and trying to compare players that have proven nothing to guys that are legends and have proven everything, right? But, you know, all this talk around the next best big man, little man, little did everybody know. Little did most people know that all along it looks like the second coming, to a degree, just on the basis of it being a big man, little man, could be, I'm not saying is right now, could be Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. Could be. We have to see what happens in the future. Let's see if they can win some more championships together. But right now, they seem to be a great tandem. Nobody on that team, including the superstars, nobody on that team has an ego. They just want to play basketball. They just want to win. They just want to play as a unit. And they have a very, very well-oiled machine right now, with Joker being the hub, the nucleus of everything, without being a ball-dominant player. Everybody's thriving in their role. Everybody's getting opportunities. The ball doesn't stick to Joker. He's very decisive. That's why I've said that about Joker since you could go back and look at all my Nikola Jokic content since I started this channel this season. I've said that, and I've said that, and I've said that. I said this dude ain't stat. I've never thought he was stat padding. He just plays the game. His numbers are a direct product of his natural feel for the game without being ball dominant in the sense the ball does not stick to him. Quick, decisive, smart, reads defenses well. We all know a great passer that he is. Joker has a bright, bright, bright future ahead of him, man. He really does. The Denver Nuggets have all the makings. And listen, I'll be the first to tell you, I didn't have the Nuggets win the championship this year. I didn't. I thought they were still just missing maybe a piece, but apparently not. Not necessarily a big piece, but a piece, something. But apparently not. I was wrong. Maybe that piece was there. I just didn't know it. But they have a team here, and no team is going to come back the exact same team as they, into the next season. There will be some adjustments, probably nothing major in a sense of big players being shifted or moved around outside of somebody going into free agency and maybe taking more money off the status they've gained from this playoff run. We see that happen all the time. But just smaller moves, maybe some role players, beef up the bench a little bit, maybe get another one or two people that you can trust coming off the bench to play in these bigger games in the playoffs, make your rotations a little bit longer, things like that. But the nucleus as a whole, I expect Joker to return. I expect Jamal Murray. I expect Gordon. I expect Porter to return. I expect Bruce will see. I don't know what everybody's contract situation is, but assuming these guys are locked in the contract, Bruce Brown. And think about it, these guys have Reggie Jackson on the bench, not even getting playing time. Reggie freaking Jackson, an offensive dynamite stick, man. They got a nice squad, man. They really do. And they are poised to make a long run. Now, I'm not saying they're going to go back to back or anything like that, but they will be a force and they will be a team to be reckoned with for, a couple years in the future. We always say this is like, man, this is going to be a team that you're going to have to reckon with for a really long time, and then something always happens. Someone leaves, there's, an injury. So I'm just going to say, for at least I can see for the, next couple years, barring anything nuts happening, this is going to be a team that has to be dealt with. Joker is a player that's going to have to be dealt with. And I really like how, for years and years, I've gotten in arguments with people about, they're saying that big men can't thrive in this league. I was like, are you nuts? The problem is a lot of these big men don't play big. That's why they're not taking advantage of these small ball lineups. Give me the big guy any day that'll dominate in the paint. Any day. And I'll show you what he can do to these small ball lineups. I'm telling you. Dog can shoot all the threes you want. Clank them all. Clank them, clankety. I see more NBA games where teams are clanking threes and actually making threes. So go ahead. Stretch the floor. I'm leaving my big in. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. The Nuggets are a problem, man. They're a problem. They can score in the paint. They can beat you in the paint without shooting a bunch of threes. Or if they're hot, they can kill you with a bunch of threes. But one thing that, and I could be wrong here, but just as my memory serves me, I really don't remember these Nuggets having many games where they were so reliant on three-point shooting that they just kept chucking them up into losing a game. Like they are totally comfortable scoring in other ways, in the mid-range, in the paint. And that's rare to find with NBA teams today. It is. I just can't remember a game during this play. I've seen almost every other team in these playoffs just keep shooting threes, even though they're missing like 60, 70%, no, more than 60, like 80% of them, 70 to 80+% of them. I've just seen them keep chucking them. And then it's like, oh, we only lost by 10 points. if you would have got some easier buckets, maybe could have won that game. But I don't really see the Nuggets do that. They're well coached, and their leaders out there, Murray and Joker, really keep the team poised at all times and make the right decisions, and everyone else on the floor follows suit, follows their leader. I mean, they got a guy. They got the big gun in Joker. They got the next big gun in Jamal Murray, and I still think Jamal Murray ain't getting enough respect, honestly. Listen, man. I don't care if he didn't make an all-star team. I don't care if he's technically an all-star, but that boy's an all-star. I ain't saying he's a super duper star or anything like that, but he's an all-star. I don't care if he never made an all-star team. I'd take Jamal Murray over a handful of people that were on that all-star team, that were technical all-stars. So I'm saying that right now, okay? They got the Aaron Gordon, a guy that can play defense, a guy that has size, a guy that can finish at the rim, and now he's improved his 3-point shot over the last 2 seasons. Right? You got Bruce Brown, scrappy guy, has a great floater, can score in the paint. Now he can shoot. He wasn't always a great 3-point shooter. He started picking that up in his latter year in Brooklyn, if I'm not mistaken. Getting rebounds, hustle plays, putbacks. They got a guy that does that. They got Porter Jr., a guy that can be streaky at times, but has length. And with his length, he can cause problems with his defense when he's invested. Can get rebounds with his length, can do putbacks, and occasionally he can get hot. He's capable of going on for 30 plus any given night. He is. One thing I've been saying is that I felt like whenever Porter Jr.'s contract was up, I felt like he was leaving to be more to a team where he can be the focus, and then, work on his individual career and see what he's capable of doing with his own team and getting a bigger contract. But now that they won his championship, I don't know if he'll leave. I don't know, but it's all going to come down to contract negotiations, and I'm sure Denver's going to have to pay him. And then they got Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who was doing a lot of things that he did for the Lakers in the bubble. And I heard Laker fans, well, he never did this for us. Oh, look at KCP. Oh, I was like, what are you talking about? That guy did everything for you in that bubble championship. What are you talking about? What kind of Laker fan are you? He was a major reason why you guys won the championship. He was very important, along with Rondo, along with them other boys. Nuggets, NBA champions, man. And it's crazy to think, man. More or less this team, you know how it is. Joker's not going to get the headlines like some of the bigger all-stars, even though he's better than damn near every all-star. I mean, he's arguably the best player in the league. I'd have to sit down and really think about it, but you will get no argument from me. And I might even agree with you, but I have to sit down and reassess who my top players are in the NBA now that everything's said and done. I'll put out a new top 10 sometime in the offseason. But Joker could very well be my number one. Now, I'm not one of these guys that thinks that the Finals MVP is always the best player in the league. Sometimes it works out that way. But there are people that legitimately think that if you won the Finals MVP, well, you're the best player in the NBA. I'm like, no. Does it work out that way sometimes? Yeah. But you're going to tell me Chauncey Billups was the best player in the NBA at one point? You're going to tell me that Paul Pierce was the best player in the NBA after the 2008 Finals? You're going to tell me that Andre Iguodala was the best player in the NBA after the 2015 Finals? Come on, folks. Come on. What are we talking about? Cut it out. So, yeah. Hey, man. Solid team there. Solid team. I know a lot of people thought Miami was gonna win that game. A lot of people thought they find it within themselves to dig down deep, and I said nah. And as I'm watching the game, and Miami was leading for quite some time in that first half. I can't remember the exact details, but they had a decent league. But I mean, for this NBA, you can erase a 20-point lead in 3 minutes. You know what I mean? But the fact that the Nuggets weren't playing that good in the beginning of the game, and Miami jumped out to that lead, and based on just if you weren't looking at the score, you're just watching the game and listening to the commentators and everything, you would swear that Miami was up a lot bigger than they actually were, considering how bad the Nuggets were playing and how good the Heat were playing. And then you look at the score and it's like, geez, they're only down by 9? They're only down by 10? That's it? Oh, this is over. Miami Heat out here giving it their best shot, and the Nuggets ain't even playing that well, and they just hanging around. I was like, that's when I knew. I was like, yep, this is over. This is over, because the Nuggets ain't going to play like that all game. And I don't think the Miami Heat are going to play like that all game. I felt like the Heat were overperforming, and I felt like the Nuggets were underperforming, and I knew that wasn't going to be sustainable for the full 48. Sure enough, it wasn't. This is going to be a team that people are going to have to deal with. And I don't know if Joker hit his ceiling yet. And if he did, and that's scary. And sometimes your ceiling isn't always based on your stats. There's a whole lot of intangibles and other things and ways to impact the game. Right? So based on what I've just said, I don't know if he hit his ceiling yet. But either way, if this is his ceiling, God bless everyone. But Jamal Murray still has a lot more room to get better. I think Jamal Murray is more, and this is not me being a prisoner of the moment. Watching this guy play, I don't care about the stats. Watching him play, his energy, his tenacity, his vigor, the fact that this guy wants it, the fact that this guy plays hard, the fact that this guy is not scared of the moment. He can lead it. I'm not saying he can lead his own team to a championship, but you can build around him. Without Joker, he's that good, in my opinion. He is. And I've seen enough. I saw what he did in the bubble, and we didn't get a chance to see him because of the injuries. And I understand that his regular season stats really aren't going to be as good as his playoff stats, considering the rotations get shortened in the playoffs and more responsibility is placed on players to step up. So they'll go deeper into their bench during the regular season, and his numbers may not be what they are in the playoffs. But the fact that I know that he's capable of that, and in the playoffs, it's no problem for me. It's no problem for him to tap into himself. And it's like, all right, now I'm gonna give it to you. Now that the rotations are shortened, and I'm gonna be playing longer minutes and have more responsibility. Let's get it. But listen, I've seen enough from this guy. He's legit. And y'all remember when that in the bubble, him and Donovan Mitchell were going at it. After that, I was like, okay, these guys are having a big playoff series, but we'll see what happens next season. Donovan Mitchell has been relatively healthy since then, and he hasn't took the next step that I thought he would, that I was hoping he would, based off what I saw. He's been more or less a disappointment to me. But Murray, in my opinion, more or less has picked up where he left off. That's all I got to say about it. Y'all let me know what you think about it. Again, shout out to, Colorado. Shout out to all the people in Denver. Shout out to the Nuggets fans. Shout out to the real Nikola Jokic fans, not the bandwagoners out here. Anyway, that's all I got to say about it. Y'all let me know what you think about it. Did you enjoy the finals? What do you think about the Denver Nuggets moving forward? What do you think their potential is in the future? Congratulations. We out, baby.